Okay, good morning. Welcome everyone to the 121st annual meeting of the New Jersey State Golf Association. Needless to say, 2020 has been a memorable year, but all things considered, it's been a very successful year for our association. Despite the challenges of the COVID pandemic, we've been able to run our full slate of championships as of the end of this month, along with a robust schedule of member golf days. And by the end of the season, we will have also conducted 15 course ratings. And most importantly, our charitable foundations have continued with their missions of providing opportunities to underprivileged individuals. You'll hear in much greater detail in the forthcoming committee reports the extent to which COVID has affected each aspect of our operation. But I'd like to stress how proud I am of our entire staff, as well as all of our volunteers for the way that they've responded to the challenges of this unprecedented year. From our executive director to all of our department heads and their assistants, everyone has stepped up with creative ideas and an exemplary effort to make this year a success. I should also acknowledge the efforts of our interns. We had 3 exceptional interns this year, Griffin Ferrara, Brianna Stein, and Will Luke, who did fantastic work for us in making this year a success. So we can't thank them enough. There are many unknowns going forward into 2021, but we're looking forward to that challenge as well and another successful season. So hopefully golf will continue to thrive as it has in these times, and hopefully the pandemic will calm down a bit. I'm going to go right into the notice of quorum script here with our secretary. Mr. Secretary, was proper notification of the time and date of the annual meeting mailed to all the member clubs as prescribed in the association bylaws?
The notice was mailed to all member clubs 20 days prior to these proceedings.
The bylaws call for 10 voting member clubs or courses to be present to constitute a quorum. Are 10 voting member clubs present?
Yes, we have a quorum.
Thank you. I'd also like to make a motion to approve the minutes from our previous board meeting that occurred in Rock Spring in August.
So moved.
We get a second? Thank you. I will now proceed with the treasurer's report. Both our treasurer and vice president, as related to some COVID travel restrictions, are unable to be here today. So I do have an emailed report from our treasurer, Rod McCray, which I will present to you now. Roddy writes, 2019 was a good year. We finished on budget and with a strong cash balance in our accounts. 2020, though, has been a different type of year. Early in March and April, as the severity of the COVID virus became apparent, we started to construct some financial scenarios that would include partial or complete elimination of association golf activities. I am happy to report that golf resumed in the state of New Jersey and our worst fears have been avoided. I would like to thank Kevin Purcell, Mike McEnany, and our entire association staff for the hard work and creative thinking they provided to allow us to have an extremely successful season given the situation. Our sponsors stood by the association all year, and the expectation is that all of those fees will be paid. Several months ago, we were concerned we would have to run an extremely abbreviated tournament schedule, but thanks to Brad Barden's hard work, we managed to play all of our events with high levels of participation. So tournament numbers are also looking very good for revenue. Handicap numbers from our member clubs may possibly be off by 7 to 10%. We think this year represented an opportunity for clubs to go through their handicap rosters and clean up their lists. But we've also seen an offset as our internet or e-club handicaps are up by about 30%, and our affiliate or O-club revenue is up as well. So the net effect may be to have revenues down about 5% in the handicapping area. On the expense side, we will not have spent as much as we budgeted. Limited ability to travel and hold large gatherings have helped to keep our expenses in check. Bottom line is hope that the reduction in expenses will offset the lower handicap revenue and that we can end the year very close to break even from the original budget we constructed last fall. Normally we would have a little more detail at this time, but the delay in the opening of golf in the state of New Jersey meant pushing back the handicap billing. And all of our tournaments have occurred much later in the season with several big events or 2 big events still to be concluded. So we're still in the process of working through those numbers. And then Roddy concludes by saying he hopes that everyone and their families have remained safe and healthy, and hopes that 2021 will be a strong year. I will now introduce David Kronheim, Chairman of the Partnership Committee, to give the Partner Committee report.
I got my own backdrop, very excited. I'd like to start by echoing what Eric said. I think it's worth taking a moment just to say, to recognize the tremendous efforts of our staff through the pandemic. This has been a very, very challenging year, and perhaps no area more so than for the Partnership Committee. It's really been quite a challenge. I'd like to thank particularly Kevin and Mike. I think they've done a wonderful job in holding together what could have been a very disastrous situation for us. We've ended the year with almost $300,000 worth of gross revenue between our advertisers and our partnership sponsors. That's a testament to Kevin and to Mike and to the rest of the staff's ability to think on their feet, to be quick, to figure out how to keep these partners from bailing on us, to keep them happy. And I think actually at the end of the day, we were in a unique position where, as golf is throughout the state, it was one of the activities that could be done safely during the pandemic. It left us in a position where actually I think our partners may have relied on us more than we anticipated. And I think that we were able to show more value to them by being able to be flexible in how we performed our obligations under the contract. And again, I think that's really a testament to Kevin and to Mike. As we look forward into to next year, again, our major sponsors are on board with this, Provident Bank and NJM. We're really very pleased to have them as our 2 largest partners. We continue the search for additional partners. We ask all of the board members, if you have a contact at a potential partner, to please continue to reach out to us. But again, I think this was a year where the possibility of a worst case scenario looks pretty likely sitting here at the end of March or early April. And I'm very, very pleased to report that we have almost full collections on that almost $300,000 worth of partnership income. Very, very pleased with how it's gone. And again, also a difficult year because we transitioned away from Tom Doronsky, left us at the end of last year. So we had hoped to hire someone to fill his role in a slightly different capacity, but we weren't able to do so. We extended an offer, but unfortunately that person was didn't accept that offer. So again, sort of undermanned, outgunned. We did a great job this year. So I think, again, thank you to all of our staff for their hard work. And I think the future of the partnerships continues to be very, very bright. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Lisa.
Yep, Lisa, sorry about that.
Good morning, I'm Lisa Leifer, and I'm going to give the membership report. I have 3 areas to report on: the membership numbers, the member golf events, and the World Handicap System. So as of October 1st, 2020, our active gym member count is 39,266, of which 53% are private club members and 47% are public players. Of these, 17% are women and 2% are juniors. Early this season, it was very uncertain whether there'd be a loss of active gym memberships, but as of now, we are on par, actually slightly better with a 1% increase from the same time last year. Related to golf member events, even with the challenge of COVID-19, New Jersey State Golf Association successfully has held many member golf events using COVID precautions. We used tee times versus shotgun, eliminated social activities, and emphasized social distancing. In 2020, we completed 5 member golf days at Springbrook, Cobblestone, 2 at the Ridge, and Trenton Country Club. All events reached capacity. 3 more are scheduled in October at Hathworth, Crestmont, and Deal. There were 3 member golf days canceled in May due to COVID-19, but New Jersey State is currently working on adding one of these, rescheduling it into early November. At each of the member golf day, New Jersey State members were appreciative that the events were held this year. Every course was in great shape. The clubs seemed pleased to have us. Tee times replaced shotguns this year for the need to maintain social distances, and it was well received by the members in the member clubs. Though some golfers expressed that they missed the shotguns, and especially after golf, socializing, food, and cocktails. Holding 9 member golf days is a huge achievement and a benefit to the membership. The 6th Ultimate Team event was held at Metedeconk. It was their 3rd time hosting, and Metedeconk was in phenomenal condition. The field was capped at 116 players. Again, tee times were used with no after golf activities. Prizes were announced via email. The overall net winners were from Eagle Ridge Golf Club, Ken Haragondon, Fred Johnson, and the runner-ups were from Colts Neck, Richie Calv, and Joe Giamanco. The winners received a golf day at Hamilton Farms Golf Club, and they couldn't have been happier. Thanks, Eric. The 2nd South Jersey Cup was just recently completed. There were 109 participants, 59 men's amateur, and the champion was Steve Zukowski. There were 38 seniors, won by Ron Mininelli, and 13 women, gross won by Samantha Parada, and the net won by Lisa Cole. The South Jersey Cup, the revenue supports 2 scholarships, and in 2020, the South Jersey Cup will raise $2,500. The scholarships go to 1 male and 1 female standout student golfer in South Jersey. And in 2020, $2,000 were raised, but because there was no high school golf season this spring and with limited activity in the South, at the South Jersey clubs until May, it was decided to carry over the scholarships to 2021. Moving on to the World Handicap System, this was a major focus with the change in 2020. The USGA tournament management system powered by Golf Genius was rolled out to 120 clubs. That includes both the basic program at 100 clubs and the premium program at 20 clubs. The event management program continues to be the leader in golf event software. The other focus was actually learning about the new World Golf Handicap System by all golfers, and especially the pros at the clubs to support their golfers. All active New Jersey State World Handicap System gym clubs were certified to provide the World Handicap System. As we all know, there were many changes in 2020 on handicaps. You know, just a couple of features that we all learned and now love, right? The index is now counted out of 8 of your last 20 scores instead of 10. You get daily revisions. I think that's terrific to know how you're currently playing. There is a new way of adjusting handicaps when you have a competition using different tees or a combination of men and women players. The net bogey replaced the equitable stroke control. We now have a playing handicap, which is the course handicap after the percentage is applied, and there's some changes in how that percentage applies. I don't know if you noticed, but there is a playing condition calculation. And you know, between the beginning of the handicap season in April to present, there's been 726 occurrences for our members with the player condition calculation that adjusts based on what, how the course played that particular day by doing a comparison of all players who submitted their scores. We now have the equitable stroke reduction, think exceptional scores. And there were 693 out of the 39,000 plus New Jersey State members had exceptional scores. That's when 7 strokes are better than their handicap indicated their score should be. And then there's the soft and hard caps, which limits the movement of your handicap within a last 12-month window. And there were 3,207 golfers who received either a hard or soft cap to their index. Lots of changes, but I think it's been a very successful first year with the World Handicap System, supported by New Jersey State Golf Association. The online seminars held during April and May paid off because we had a very active tournament season this year. New Jersey State Golf Association also manages a hotline to address questions. And the association is planning to send an off-season survey to clubs and golfers to collect feedback on the new World Handicap System. So in closing, I would like to acknowledge and thank the New Jersey State Golf Association staff, and especially Rich Kennedy, who's the Director of Handicapping and Member Services, for all their work to make all of these activities very successful, especially in a more challenging year with COVID-19. Job well done. Thank you. And now I'd like to ask Walter Sartorius to come up and talk about the tournament committee.
Thank you, Lisa. Welcome and good morning. I'm happy to report on our 2020 tournament committee results, which has turned out to be a very good and successful season, despite the many COVID challenges. And within the next 3 weeks, we will have completed all 25 of our championships for this year. But first, a few thank yous, particularly to our excellent Encore staff and interns led by Brad Barden. Brad, Joe Fierro, Brianna Stein, and Will Duke, our core four, so to say, are the ones setting up and running every event, often arriving at 6 a.m. or earlier. And I would also like to thank Steve Fail for his experienced hand and insights in dealing with the inevitable day of event issues that are pretty typical for us. And I'd also like to give a very huge thank you to all of our tournament volunteers, without whom we cannot run our events. During the season, we have roughly 42 event days to cover, made even more challenging by the COVID-19 and self-quarantining issues that a lot of us have already talked about. But I'd like to acknowledge all of our volunteers generally, with some special shout outs to a few that worked more than 50% of those event days this year. Specifically Dan Juffy, who's become our de facto starter at events. He worked 39 out of the 42 event days, and the ones he missed were because we had 2 events running on the same day. Pretty amazing. Rob Meehan, 32 event days. Frank Toronto, 27 event days, and Walter Boydus, 25 out of the 42 event days. Pretty amazing. Many more to thank, but I think those 4 guys really stepped up to help us out. With that said, some general stats on our championships. As of today, we have completed a total of 22 championships, comprised of 11 men's championships, 9 women's championships, and 2 championships from our mixed Pinehurst event. Over the next 3 weeks, we will have conducted our final 3 championship events, being the Mid-Am on October 13th through 15th at North Jersey Country Club, the Senior Inter-Club Championship on October 21st at Deal, and our 4-Bowl Championship on October 27th to 30th at Manasquan River Country Club. In addition, during the year 2020 season, we conducted 2 USGA sectional qualifiers, being the men's 4-ball sectional at Hackensack Country Club and the women's 4-ball sectional at Fiddler's Elbow. I'd now like to go through all of our 2020 championship winners, starting with the men in the mixed Pinehurst championships. On July 20th to 22nd, we conducted the 100th Open Championship hosted by the very receptive Knickerbocker Country Club, which was won by Mark Costanza of Hamilton Farms. On July 27th, we had the very popular Father-Son Championship, which was held at Forest Gate Country Club, with the Colts Neck team Lanich winning the Gross and the Forest Gate Country Club Jaskowski team winning the Net Championship. On August 3 through 8th, we conducted our 119th amateur presented by Provident Bank, which was won by Austin Devereaux of Howell Park. On August 18th, we held the 25th Senior Floorball Championship at Forest Field Club with the winning team of Purcell Kennedy, led by our own Kevin Purcell. On August 20th, the 16th Men's Public Links Championship was held at Rock Springs Country Club with New Jersey E-Club member Michael Winter prevailing. And on August 24th to 26th at Watchung Valley Country Club, which hosted both the 50th Boys Championship, which was won by Liam Pasternak of Essex Fells, and the 99th WY Deer Junior Championship, which was won by Thomas O'Neill of Hackensack. From Friday, August 31st to September 1st, Maplewood Country Club hosted our 62nd Pre-Senior Championship, won by Derek Senna from Deal Country Club. Continuing into September, on September 15th, we conducted our 54th Mixed Pinehurst Championship, hosted by Roxidicus Country Club. Winning the gross championship was the team of Steve Boyd from Baltusrol and Christine Parcells from Somerset Hills. Winning the senior championship was Adam and Jane Kugler of Alpine, and the net winner was the team of Ferrara Edwards from Cherry Valley Country Club. On September 21st, we had the 10th Super Senior Championship hosted by Forest Gate and won by Forest Gate's own Ron Vanelli. And on September 22nd to 23rd, we completed the 62nd Senior Amateur Championship hosted by Suburban Country Club and won by Adam Kugler of Alpine. Moving on to our women's championships, from July 27th to the 30th, with the immensely helpful and accommodating Morris County Country Club, we were able to simultaneously conduct the 95th Women's Amateur, the 66th Junior Girls Championship, and the 7th Women's Mid-Amateur Championship over that 3-day period. Winning the 95th Women's Am Championship was Eunice Kim of White Beaches Country Club. Winning the 66th Junior Girls Championship was Catherine Liu of Forest Gate. And winning the Mid-Amateur Championship was Samantha Parada of Old York Country Club. On August 12th, we held the 17th Women's Public Links Championship at Ashbrook Country Club with Christine Shao of Neshannock Valley winning the Gross Championship and the Net Championship taken home by Marge Zedchik from the Women's Golf Association of New Jersey. And on October 24th, Springbrook hosted the 8th Women's Floorball Championship with Noelle Martz of Ridgewood and Amy Jean Candini of Watchung Valley capturing the Gross Championship with the team of Annika Johnson of Knoll Country Club and Anna Ritchie of Ballyowen winning the Net Championship. And most recently, on October 1st, the 51st Women's Senior Gross and Net Championships were held at Copper Hill with Alicia Kapheim of Springdale winning the Gross Championship and Anna Turner of the Women's Golf Association of New Jersey prevailing on the Net Championship. One final note, there's some courses that really step up during the course of the year, and Watchung Valley really was very helpful to us. So David, I want to thank you for all the support you've given the association. It's really appreciated to have a nice golf course we can count on. Next, Frank O'Brien will give the Youth Foundation report.
Thank you, Walter, and good morning to everybody. The mission of the Youth Foundation is to provide financial assistance to needy youth groups throughout the state of New Jersey. Last year, we provided $42,000 to various groups throughout the state. Our main source of income are two: the annual Golf Pro-Am, and which precedes the New Jersey State Open, and the raffle, which are sold to friends of the New Jersey State Golf Association. On behalf of the Youth Foundation, I would very much like to thank all of you who participated in either one or both of those activities. It's very much appreciated and very much needed. This year's Pro-Am was held at Knickerbocker Country Club, and as part of our commitment to the host club, we asked that they designate a charity of their choice. This year, the recipient of the $5,000 grant from the Youth Foundation went to the Center for Food Action, which is located up in Englewood. During the height of the pandemic, the Center for Food Action served 1,000 families a month during the height, per week from both Bergen and Passaic counties. The program was successful, but was presented in a different manner. Instead of the usual shotgun start, we had tea times in each group, and we didn't have our usual social gathering at the end of the day due to the coronavirus. I want to thank Knickerbocker Country Club, Bill Hook, the golf professional, as well as Mike McEnany, Brad Barden, and Kevin Purcell for their efforts in making this year's outing a success under very difficult circumstances. We raised $24,450 from the raffle, with the grand prize being a 2-day golf trip to Colonial Williamsburg. This year we completed our 3-year commitment to the ARC of Essex and Union counties. Over the past 3 years, we have provided grants of $40,000 to each one of those organizations to assist in running their summer programs, their summer camp programs. Lastly, the New Jersey State Golf Association and the Youth Foundation were honored to receive the Community Partner Award from the Essex County ARC for the year 2020. But because of the restrictions of coronavirus, this award will be received by our organization in October of 2021. I thank you very much, and I'd like to now introduce for the communications report, Mark Anania and Kevin Casey.
So the communications team, we've divided it up in what I call the Jetsons do the neat stuff, the social media, the most current, and the Jetson side is what Mark takes care of. I'm on the Flintstone side, and that's not a reflection in any way to denigrate the print side of things. It's just my little joke to show that there is a difference in what we're doing. But I'm happy to say that they're all integrated, or they're both integrated together. It's really been an unusual year, as we've all talked about. Communications has been a big deal, though, for some time now. I had the pleasure yesterday of talking with Gene Westmoreland, who is former executive director of the not the WMGA, the MGA. And he's a very highly respected gentleman in the business. And we were just talking about various things, and he mentioned how he's always felt like the MGA puts on a good event. He always feels like they put on a good tournament, and I have to agree. However, he said, we were missing the boat on something for quite a while, and that was communications. And that is something that we're putting more and more resources into now than we ever have in the past. And he says, I feel like that's what we've really been missing, and we have a great chance to improve. And I feel like New Jersey State's doing the same thing. It's working out very well. Some of the things that we're doing, of course, on the analog side, the Flintstone side, have to do with the magazine. The magazine, you got your last issue around the 20th of September. The The winter issue is going to come out around December 1st. It's a little later than usual because this is the year of COVID. Everything's been pushed back. Everything's been slowed down. Tournaments are later in the year. We've decided to push it back simply because we got more information that we want to get out in a timely manner, even in the periodicals. There's going to be some travel ads in this. We're going to have 6 pages of travel ads, and that'll be a good revenue source for what we're doing. And I have a feeling that it'll be even better than we did last year. This year we had program books throughout the year. We had them for the Open, and that was in addition to the Centennial book that we've talked about in the past, for the Amateur. And then for the Women's Amateur and the Mid-Am, the Women's Mid-Am, and the Women's Junior, we had a program for that book as well. And then the Senior Am. That all came to a total of about 90 pages right there. That was done in-house by our communication team, such as it is. It's a bunch of people who found the free time to do the work as well as they could. And to that end, I'd really like to thank both Mikes. Mike Moretti, who by the way has gotten some awards lately. He seems to be one of the people that just awards are thrown at him from time to time. It's pretty cool. Mike McEnany, of course, is the guy who's kind of tied all this communication stuff together and done a wonderful job on both sides of the coin, Flintstone and Jetson. And then Lexi she's changed everything since she's been here. Huge input, particularly on the social side, social media side and the digital side, but she's been a big contributor across the board. And then we had Griff, Brianna, and Will. They were all important, mainly because they're under 25 years old and they understand this a little better than many of the rest of us with gray hair. But it's really been an exceptional year because of the flexibility that you guys have shown. It's been very impressive, and I have a feeling we learned so much this year that we're going to do better next year. So let me bring on the Jetson. Mark and Anya, please.
Thanks, Kevin. I think we really would make good alternate shark partners after the way this whole year has gone. So I'm here to provide the report on the social media end of our communications. And with so many of us, as a result of COVID, being deprived of the opportunity to visit our pro shops, to sit in our locker rooms and be in our clubhouse and really engage with our fabulous magazine, a big way of how we communicated with our members and our audience this year has been this. So social media took an even greater bit of importance this year than in years before. And I'm very pleased to report that we answered that call. And over the course of the year, we've had a sharp and steady rise in our followers in our metrics. We have 4 main channels that we use to communicate with people digitally: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And I'm very pleased to report that all of those have been up this year. 2 of them having significant milestones of our Twitter account and more recently our Instagram account, each eclipsing 3,000 followers in the last few months, which is a very significant milestone for us. We're also seeing growth in our posts and how our social media has driving more engagement to our profile, which is the way that we can connect what we're putting out there in the world to what's on our website and other ways to track it. It does look like we still have some more growth to go. There's more market for us to grab compared to how our brother and sister groups at the NJSGA and the GAP have done. But we just take that as a challenge and something that shows that there's more market share for us to grab and that there's more success that we have to do. And the final piece about our social media is how it impacts our partnerships and our sponsors, because that's another way, especially as we saw this year, how we could deliver value to those that work with us when we can't gather together like we normally did. And I'm happy to also report that our partners and sponsors have been very pleased with our engagement, the content we've created, and how we really served to put it all together this year. For next year, we're going to look to implement a lot of the lessons that we learned from the success we had this year. We're looking to create more videos, more engagement with our members in our local clubs, more what we would call reciprocal tagging by getting the accounts of our individuals and putting them into our content and then having them reciprocally share it, sort of organically put these things together and really see that symbiosis. And we've also learned the, a simple lesson that more posts equals more results. So I think we're also inclined and motivated to continue all the good work that we've done so that it can lead to even better results I hope to share with you at the same point next year. None of this, of course, is due to anything that I've done. This is all really thanks to our wonderful staff who have done such a great job in creating this content, driving this boat, and managing these accounts. And of course, I have to thank Lexi Guzzi in front of me here for leading that, and also Brianna and Will, who I'm very pleased to see today in person and look forward to chatting. But it's also a testament to the strength of our overall association, because we're simply the window in a digital space into all the great work that's being done, the quality of our championships, the real quality of the articles and the magazine that we put out, and how we all just, and what goes on with our member golf days and all the things that we do as an organization makes, and how well all that done simply just makes our job easier in putting it out there. So to that I also thank everyone else in their respective committees, and certainly the members of the communication committee run by Mike McAdaney, and it's a real pleasure to work with you all. So with that, I will introduce he who needs no introduction, Belle Del Vento.
You get my good side. Just double check. Well, it gives me great pleasure to report upon our 2019 final numbers and bring you up to date what's happening on 2020. First of all, for last year, we received in donations, once again, over $1 million, $1,003,000. Basically, it comes from our club members, membership, and also I'd like to acknowledge the continuation of the Stackhouse Foundation gave us $95,000. We have 20 Stackhouse Caddy Scholarship recipients going to 20 universities over the entire United States. Based upon that money, I'll bring you up to date on the total amount of scholarships that were awarded for the 2021 academic year. They totaled $635,000. And it was 147 recipients. With the pandemic and everything else, we only had 3 students that deferred. They have the scholarships, which are 4-year scholarships, as you know. We're very pleased, in light of this craziness of the pandemic, that we had an outstanding year and we're able to get these students going away to college. I'd like to acknowledge our top 5 contributing clubs. Number 5, Manasquan River. Dan, another great job. $48,650. Ridgewood, $56,125. Upper Montclair, $60,295. Another great job, Brian. Echo Lake, $73,387. And number 1, which is now my home course, Baltusal, $96,300. these numbers are fantastic in light of what's going on with this craziness in the whole United States. Our top 5 park clubs. Now, park clubs, if you're a member of the park club, that means you had individually specifically made a donation of over $100 or more. So these are the top 5 clubs. Number 5 is Manasquan River, 424. Morris County was 466. Ridgewood was 528. Echo Lake was 539. And Upper Montclair was 561. That means there are a total of 3,534 individuals from our membership clubs who gave $100 or more. That's a fantastic number. Shows commitment, generosity, and dedication here in the state of New Jersey. So our total awards were $635,000 again. And since our inception, we have now received, our Caddy Scholarship recipients have totaled, for the first time in history, 3,026 Caddy Scholars. And we have an active alumni association. I'm proud to report that, Eric. And another good thing is that the total tuition awards ending as of December 31st last year was $15,936,766. And I can proudly announce that including what we got in this year, we've cracked $16 million. But another good thing is that our Caddy Scholars, this is an amazing thing. Since our inception, we have a graduation rate, 4-year graduation rate of over 96%. This is the jewel of our charity foundation in the state of New Jersey. And I'd like to just, in closing, thank all of our members of the association, our membership clubs, our professionals, those dedicated to recognizing, and I've said this for the last 45 years, if I didn't say it, I think Frank O'Brien would be disappointed. But thanks for all your support and generosity. We continue to recognize that education is the most precious gift. Thank you all.
Back again. It's also my privilege to chair the Hall of Fame and Archives Committee. It's, as with all of our championships and all of our operations this year, the Hall of Fame Committee was affected by the pandemic. We were unable to hold our induction ceremony in April, which is a shame. We had hoped that we might be able to hold it later this year, but we've decided to postpone that until 2021. So we can properly honor all of our inductees in person, hopefully when the time is appropriate. We had 5 inductees to this class: Leighton Calkins, Michael Sestone, Sherry Herman, John McDermott, and Alan Small. All of them very worthy inductees for our class this year. In particular, it's a shame we weren't able to recognize Leighton Calkins this year. You heard Lisa talk a little bit earlier about some of the changes to the USGA handicap system. We were very proud to honor Leighton in 2020 because he was really the inventor of what became the USGA's handicap system. So I do want to make sure that we recognized him in this year because his contribution has carried forward and is something that was at the front of all of our minds. Michael Sestone as well, probably most famous. You won the U.S. Senior Amateur, but was known around the state as the golfing postman. Was a avid golfer and someone who really embody the ideals of amateurism in the more traditional sense of the word. Someone who was held down a full-time job, but also was able to play top-level golf at a very, very high level. Sherry Herman, a 5-time NJSGA Women's Amateur champion, including 4 in a row. And also at the age of 51 in 2009 claimed the U.S. Senior Women's Amateur at the Homestead in Virginia. Just a tremendous player out of Hollywood. John McDermott, someone who I'm proud that we were able to recognize, in part because I think we came up with a set of guidelines for admission to the Hall of Fame that allowed us to recognize and to look back through the history books and find those people who were proud to have represented New Jersey in serious competitions. John McDermott, as you know, was the first American-born winner of the United States Open, won back-to-back U.S. Opens, often thought of as a Philadelphia guy, but actually played out and represented Atlantic City Country Club, which was near and dear to his heart. As many of you know, he also unfortunately suffered some mental health issues in his mid-20s and was institutionalized for much of his life, but Atlantic City Country Club was very, very near and dear to his heart, and someplace that he would go. You could often find him there just hitting balls or putting around the putting green. And so, again, I was pleased that we're able to recognize John because I think his story and his connection to New Jersey was something that had been overlooked. And I think that's a big part of what we do at the Hall of Fame Committee is balance our current champions or our more recent champions along with a search through the history books for people who we think are deserving but may have been overlooked. And lastly, Alan Small. Alan's resume, if I actually read it out, all of it here, I think would take about 25 minutes. He's one of the most accomplished players in the history of golf in the state of New Jersey, and just an all-around good guy. I think that the stat that I would highlight, he played on 56 NJSGA teams. Regardless of all the other things he did, that's an incredible commitment and incredible service to the state. And he's just, if you've met Alan, he's just the nicest person you ever want to meet. And we're so happy that he's in this year's class, and we'll really look forward to honoring him. And I'm sure he'll draw bring a big crowd of people with him when the time is appropriate. But with that, thank you, and I'll move on to the nominating committee. Thanks.
Thank you, David. Mr. President, the nominating committee has submitted to the Secretary the names of the following individuals to be elected trustees for a term of 3 years as members of our class of 2023. Eric Housekeeping, Hamilton Farms Golf Club; Rod McCray, Baltusrol Golf Club; Garfield Lane, Glen Ridge Country Club; Frank O'Brien, Plainfield Country Club; and David Kronheim, Watchung Valley Golf Club. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Having received no other nominations in accordance with the bylaws, I move that the nominations be closed and that the Secretary cast one ballot in favor of the individuals nominated. Do I have a second? Congratulations to our trustees re-elected and to our new member of the board, Garfield Lane.
In addition, we have nominated the following slate of officers for 2021. President, Eric Housekeeping; Vice President, Michael McFadden; Secretary, Rod McCray; and Treasurer, Rod McCray; and Secretary, Brian Hunt. The Board of Trustees will vote on these nominations at our reorganization meeting immediately following this meeting. And now I'd like to reintroduce Eric Housekeeping.
Thank you, Bill. A couple of housekeeping items before we move on. Just an announcement to the board. Our winter meeting that normally occurs the first Thursday in December, which we had scheduled at Echo Lake Country Club, in all likelihood is going to become a virtual meeting, given that the only in-person meetings we've had thus far this year of that format have been conducted outdoors. It's unlikely that we'll be having an outdoor meeting at Echo Lake in December. So we're going to go back to our virtual meeting model in order to achieve that objective. I would also be remiss before moving on if I did not acknowledge, after listening to David's report, how grateful we are to our three primary partners this year, Donnelly Energy, Provident Bank, and NJM Insurance Company, for their continued support of our organization in this difficult year. They are three of New Jersey's leading corporations, and each is very supportive of our charitable initiatives. Their willingness to work with our staff and our partnership committee in finding innovative ways to meet their marketing objectives has gone a long way to making 2020 a successful year for us, and we can't thank them enough. I will now move on to our outgoing board member, in recognition of our outgoing board member, Mr. John Murray. It's a little bittersweet for me to announce that John is ending his many years of service to our board of trustees and our executive committee this year. When I stopped and thought about exactly how long it's been that John has served on the board, it struck me that this is exactly the type of question that only John Murray would know the accurate answer to. For the 13 years that I've been involved with the association, we've relied on John to provide historical perspective on everything relating to the leadership of the organization. And based on all the hours of his life that he's devoted to updating our bylaws, leading our strategic planning sessions, reviewing our contracts with all the outside parties, and counseling all of the presidents who have succeeded him, including myself, I can honestly state that no member of the executive committee has had more of an impact on the growth of this organization or an association in the past 20 years than John has. In recognition of this fact, I am very pleased to announce that from this point forward, the conference room in our office will now be known as the John Murray Conference Room. I can think of no better way of honoring one of the most influential presidents in our association's history. We're an organization that relies on numerous volunteers with a variety of skill sets in order to operate, but in John's case, it was definitely the boardroom where he excelled. So let's all please acknowledge John. At some point, we will have a formal presentation of a plaque that will be placed outside the boardroom in honoring John for all of his achievements and contributions to our association. Next, we'll move on to the Honey Ganner Award. The Honey Ganner Award was created in 2012 and is named after a woman who epitomized the spirit of volunteerism. Honey Ganner spent nearly 20 years volunteering on the tournament committee of our association, donating her time for the betterment of our championships and expecting nothing in return, aside from the satisfaction of giving back to the game that she so dearly loved. That award, the award that bears her name, is given each year to an individual who has similarly devoted many years to providing exemplary service to the association in a voluntary capacity. I am very pleased to announce that this year's winner of the Honey Ganner Award is Steve Hennessy. Steve joined our board of trustees in 2010 and quickly moved on to the executive committee in 2011, where he provided invaluable guidance on all financial aspects of the operation until he retired from the executive committee at the end of last year. Even since leaving the executive committee, Steve has continued to serve in an advisory role to our current financial team. Each time the monthly financial statements are emailed to the officers, I can still look forward to 2 or 3 follow-up emails from Steve after he spent an hour or two scouring all the spreadsheets and verifying the accuracy of our accounting down to the smallest of details. Because virtually all of Steve's work has occurred behind the scenes, the level of effort he put in over the past 10 years has not been as visible as some of the previous award winners, but I can assure you that no one has done more to safeguard the financial well-being of the association than Steve Hennessy. Although Steve isn't here to accept the award today, I would like to share a few comments he sent me in an email after I notified him of being this year's recipient. Steve said, "Thank you to the members of the executive committee for the Honey Ganner Award. It comes as both a surprise and a most appreciated honor. Serving on the NJSGA board and executive committee has been a memorable experience for me, especially working with such an outstanding group of dedicated people. I will treasure this experience." And that's the end of his email. I can't think of a more deserving winner of this year's award than my good friend Steve Hennessy. So we'll have a And finally, just following up on some of the comments from Mark and Kevin Casey, I would also acknowledge the fantastic efforts that have gone into communications. For many years now, we've been emphasizing the growing importance of communications, and we've gotten so much positive feedback this year on the improved quality of the magazine, the outstanding social media platforms, and some of the great interviews done by Griffin Ferraro all year have gained a great deal of attention. So again, thank you to everyone on that communications committee led by Mike Mack and Mike Moretti on the staff side, and Kevin Casey and Mark Ananya on the committee side and chairing side. So lastly, I'd like to thank all of you in this room for your continued efforts in supporting this organization and the game that we all love. You are what make this organization great. It's been a very difficult year, but everybody has stepped up and met the challenge and given us a very successful season. So hopefully we'll continue that into 2021. And other than that, unless there's any other business, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.